All right, let's talk a little Guardians, guys. Our Guardians topic today is brought to us by Buckeye State Credit Union. If you haven't heard of them, meet your new favorite financial partner. Buckeye State Credit Union is a local institution offering everything from checking accounts to home equity lines of credit and auto loans with some of the lowest rates in Northeast Ohio. Their Cleveland branch is in Shaker Heights, which is one of 5 locations across the state, making it easy to find one near you. If you can't get to a branch, no problem. They make banking simple with digital banking, what sets them apart. They make banking personal and convenient at Buckeye. The focus is you. Their core values, connect, simplify, and adapt, guide everything they do, bringing people together, cutting through the clutter, and are innovative. To learn more, visit buckeyecu.org. Buckeye State Credit Union, your money simplified. The Guardians got swept by Seattle. We thought the sky was falling. Then they proceed to win 4 of 6 to close out their West Coast road trip with some stellar pitching over the weekend from Luis Ortiz and Slade Cecconi. Bull, Cecconi's looking good, man. Every time he's out there, I come away beyond impressed with the young right-hander. Over his last 4 starts, he has a sub-2.5 ERA. Last night, again, another shutout. The Guardians' 9th shutout win of the season.
Yeah, he's pitched great. Obviously, I've been critical of the trade because they traded Naylor, who would be their second best run producer, and his bat. But at least they have done a good job with Cecconi. He's a former first-round pick, much like another former Guardian that they got from Arizona, Trevor Bauer, who I think gave up 7 runs in the Japanese League game yesterday in 1 inning. The Guardians are crazy. They're great. They're one of the top 3 teams in baseball at developing pitching, and they're one of the bottom 3 teams in baseball at developing hitting. It is remarkable how great they are at developing pitching and how inept they are at developing hitting. But the pitching was great. Cecconi's been fantastic. Luis Ortiz has been great. Gavin Williams pitched a great game this week. Bybee had a weird game. He gave up 4 or 5 runs, but struck out 11.
And went the distance.
Yeah, it was a really weird game for him. But the difference this week was the pitching went from good to great. Doesn't really change my opinion on the overall team. The lineup's not good enough for them to be legit contenders if nothing changes. They continue to refuse to call up their top prospects. They have not made any moves to get better. So I don't understand what they're doing with the lineup. But right now, the pitching is great.
That might blow your mind. Your head might pop off your body.
Yeah.
Why isn't Austin Hedges catching every day?
He can't hit?
What's his average?
I don't know.
Bo Naylor's hitting 175, Bull.
I mean, what's Austin Hedges hitting?
You don't want to know.
It's got to be higher 175, isn't it?
I doubt it.
Austin Hedges this season is hitting 111.
Oh, my God.
Oh!
That's the answer.
If you combine the 2 Guardians catchers, they're hitting 286.
What?
Yeah. Or
you add it up like an OPS.
Or 143.
Yeah, I mean.
That's funny.
Wait, their OPS combined real quick. What's 462 plus 665?
Yeah, 1,080.
You know what's interesting to me about that, Bull, is there is this theory in baseball.
Yeah.
And it never used to exist. Well, he's a catcher.
Yeah, why does that matter? Why is that?
When we were young, in the Johnny Bench era, and go back even further, Yogi Berra, those guys produced.
Cal Raleigh has 31 homers.
I know he does.
I don't agree. I don't think there's that sentiment there. I mean,
no, Bull, you ever say this about any other position player?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah,
second baseman.
He's a first baseman.
Back in the day,
baseman.
You can't
they used to do that about shortstop back in the day.
They used to, and then Cal Ripken came along, and they were like, "Whoa, hold on." Derek Jeter, Alex Rodriguez.
I get it. It's hard.
204.
My expectations for a catcher offensively are going to be lower than other players because of the demand that the
I
catchers
understand
do.
that.
But not this.
But you can't have that.
Let's face it, Austin Hedges is not a major league player. I mean, he's not a major league player. It's absurd. They paid him $4 million.
Well, at this point, I don't know that Bo is either.
Well, that's a lot better than Austin Hedges.
Scott, you can't hit 178. You can't. It's a hole in the lineup.
He's
run into 9. I get that.
But they got holes in the line. You know, somebody said to me the other day, he goes, if you look back at that 2016 lineup for the Guardians, it wasn't that great, or the Indians. It wasn't that great
compared to this one.
Well, any lineup, yeah. So I was actually looking at it today.
We had holes.
So the average OPS in 2016 was 740. Right now, this year it's 711.
Okay.
So the average OPS in 2016 was 740. Of the seven, now they had some, they platooned in right field,
Sure.
and there was some guys in and out of the lineup. But of the guys that played the most at each spot of the 9 spots, how many Indians in 2016 do you think had an OPS over 740 out of the 9 guys?
2.
No, opposite, 7.
Oh, really?
So this is
So
revisionist
the
history.
platoon guys really brought things down.
Well, no, not really. Actually, the platoon in right field was Tyler Naquin and Brandon Geyer. And Naquin, that was his one really good year.
Yeah, he did have a good
and
year.
Brandon Geyer against lefties was a killer. Had
I know
over
he
a
did. I
900
know.
OPS.
Yeah, but
And
Ronnie
Naquin's
Chisenhall
OPS
was good that year. That's his one good year in center
he did
field.
have a good year.
But they got, or in right field.
Right field.
Obviously, they had Jose and Lindor. Kipnis was really good. Santana was in his prime.
That team.
Can I give you the both? I have the OPSs in front of me. Can I read you these real quick, just so everyone's on the same
Yeah,
page?
they're all over 800. Like 5 guys are over 800.
Yeah, Geyer 907, and he only played 38 games, but it was mostly against lefties. Naquin,
Well, they traded for him. They traded for him at the deadline, so he's only there for 2 months.
Plus, I don't know if we want to count those guys either.
No, I wasn't. But Geyer was great in his role. He was there.
Yeah,
he
right.
was their lefty. He would hit against lefties. He would play the outfield against lefties the final 2 months of the year, and he was outstanding.
He was great.
Naquin 886.
Yeah, he was great that year, Naquin.
Oh, my God.
Santana 865.
Yeah.
Jose 825. Kipnis 811. Mike Napoli 800. Lindor
Napoli.
795.
Yep.
Marlon Bird.
No, those guys didn't play.
Chisenhall
Yeah,
760.
Chisenhall started.
767.
The only 2 regular players that were under 740 were Rajai Davis, who had 40-something steals. I think he had a 690 OPS.
693 with 48 steals.
Which is so funny. Like he had I know we didn't win it, but he had the big hit in Game 7.
Right. And then the only guy who, and he had some good offensive years for the Indians, but not this year. Jan Gomes didn't hit well that year.
I liked Jan Gomes.
Yeah, that's
But he was
accurate.
a great defensive catcher, and normally he was at
defensively.
least a solid hitter.
He gave us
so they had
okay
a
offensive
you got
production,
stuck
but
with,
now, and I wonder because Stephen Vogt was of that ilk. He wasn't an offensive juggernaut. He was a good defensive catcher and had a nice career
well,
doing
he was a
that.
better hitter than these guys.
Well, anybody is. You are.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
so I just feel like we've lowered the bar to this point where this is acceptable. If they were playing any other position, they wouldn't be everyday players.
yeah, and it's great that the pitching is keeping them in it and it's giving them a chance.
And what are we hearing about Bieber? Has he thrown yet?
Nope.
He is not. No.
Okay, now I know Jason said setback, bump in the road. I'm officially concerned.
Yeah, well, I mean,
this is way too long to
the
shut him down
All-Star break
completely.
is 3 weeks away.
I know.
We were hoping he'd pitch right after the break. I
know,
don't
but
see that.
Jason and I were talking afterwards, and we said, well, you know what? Yeah, you're going to have some soreness, especially when you start to stretch it out.
Right.
This is a long shutdown
It is.
period, guys. This is 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
You don't shut someone down 3 weeks because they had your traditional regular throwing soreness.
Right.
This scares me. And the fact that it's been radio silent. We haven't heard a word.
That's true.
That is terrifying to me.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't know. Listen, right now you're getting nothing out of catcher.
Nothing.
Okay, they were benching Manzardo every day. Thankfully, they're starting to play him again.
Yeah.
Carlos Santana's OPS is now down to 680. I know he's got 30 ribbies, as if that's some great accomplishment that some people think it is.
30?
Well, because on this team it's a lot.
I mean, that's.
But most teams have 3 or 4 guys with more.
Oh, at
We
least.
have one guy with more.
At least. David Fry is giving you nothing. He should be in the minors right now.
I know.
Nolan Jones has done very little.
Nolan
You're getting
Jones
no
squared
production
one
out
up
of right
yesterday.
field. He does it like once every few games.
I know, and it's so enticing
Nothing out of
because
second,
he's so
nothing
big.
out of short. I mean, what are we doing here?
I know.
I don't know why
know.
Kafis and DeLauder are not. I'll say it every week. Why are these guys not in the majors?
This is why nobody. I was just over here as you guys are going down this brutal lineup, and I was just looking at them. We know the Indians had a great lineup back in the day. I was just looking at other placebo teams. Do you know the '97 Mariners? Dan Wilson had 15 home runs. Paul Sereno had 31. Joey Cora had 11. A-Rod, who was 12 years old, had 23. Russ Davis had 20. Jose Cruz had 12. Griffey had 56. Jay Buhner had 40. And Edgar Martinez had 28. They didn't win a thing. And we're not even talking about the Orioles lineup where they had it was wild.
Yeah.
What the hell happened, Jay? where we got to the point
Well,
where
that was the cusp of the steroid era, too.
I mean, well, start delivering them again. Just give them these, put them in Tylenol Chulo. This is wild that we are talking about guys batting 115, 113, no power.
And the redeeming quality offensively about Bo Naylor is that he's got 9 home runs.
9 home runs.
9 home runs is mid.
At
9 home
best.
runs in July, when we're almost in July.
Yeah, right about the halfway point of the season.
Well, okay, so maybe you're going to hit 20. And that's like
That's okay.
That's an accomplishment. It's okay, but hell, the Mariners catcher has over 20 already.
But he's got 20 RBIs.
That's crazy.
Because you know why?
20.
Because nobody gets on base.
No, but but
That's almost impossible to do. By the way,
The Cubs
that is almost impossible to do.
The Cubs had a catcher once. Mike, can you look this up?
Of course.
The Cubs had a catcher, I don't know, it was the 80s, and I can't remember what year it was, named Rick Wilkins, who I believe had like 30 homers and finished the year with 60 RBIs.
That's crazy.
Oh my!
65, something like that.
He must have hit like 9th, right?
Well,
he
there
had
was no
30
DH.
homers and 73 ribbies.
How many? What was it?
73 ribbies.
How many homers?
30.
30.
That's still
30. Okay, that was close.
I mean,
30 homers to only have 73 ribbies?
What is that? What is
That's-
what is the organization's stance on hitting? Like we
Optional.
hear no, for real, like we hear them say I hear them say they lay out beautiful plans for what they're gonna do with the stadium. They beautiful plans what they do with pitchers. Beautiful
because the
plans.
stadium they use other people's money.
I mean, what is their approach? Like, hey guys, why don't we tweak something in the minors? Are we prospecting? Are we picking the wrong guys? Are we going after a different type of
That's the
athlete?
Bulls' point. Like our development of hitters, particularly when you compare it to our development of pitchers, like
Couldn't be more extreme.
it couldn't be
Yeah.
more extreme.
No.
We turn guys that are mid to late round draft picks that no one heard of into 18-game winners. The track record is there.
Or look at Cecconi, who struggled last year
Cecconi.
mightily.
Yeah, Cecconi.
Cecconi.
Well,
I
we
like
got him in a
Cecconi.
trade. We
I
got
like
him
that
in a
one.
trade.
No, but I'm saying he comes into the system, and after a bad year in Arizona,
In
has,
fairness,
has
he was a
looked really
first-round pick and didn't pitch much in Arizona.
Boyd-
but he didn't pitch well.
Boyd came in, pitched well, and he's still pitching well, right?
Yeah.
He was,
He's
yeah.
been
I haven't
awesome in
looked lately.
Chicago.
So
Yeah, he's got an ERA under 3.
I mean, I
And
don't.
G, to your point, it doesn't help that
Would have been good to keep him.
4 of the top 8 picks in last year's Major League Baseball draft are now
are
in the
hitting.
majors. And
Yeah, the number 1 is hurt.
the guy that guards
Our guy.
took at 1 has not been
Yeah,
up to that
Caglione just
standard
hit
in the
2 home runs
minors,
in one
and
game.
now it's
And
hurt.
did you see the catch he made yesterday in right
did
field?
not
He
see
robbed
it.
a home run.
Oh, really?
He's
What?
a big guy. He's 6'5".
He's huge.
He robbed a home run.
They had what the dude. I think the other guy that was a third baseman is a monster too. Was the kid from
Condon.
Yeah,
From
he was a
Georgia.
monster.
He hasn't been in the big leagues yet.
Hey,
No, he's not yet. I don't think.
I don't know, man. I just don't know
And
what
Bazzana's not going to make it this year,
No.
so he's going to have 2 years, really 1.5, because by the time the draft is over and he was assigned, it was probably July, because the draft is in June.
Yeah.
So he probably played, I don't know, 50, 60 games last year, maybe a little more. And then he got off
Yeah.
to a rough start this year. So, but you know what it is, Bull, too? And I don't know how you project this, but our injury record, our track record with injuries over the last 7 years,
I know. Awful.
our biggest prospects washed out because they couldn't
I know.
stay on the field.
Well, you look at it since Lindor, the Guardians have not had a top 10 prospect pan out. They're only 2 hitters, hitting wise, not pitching.
Yeah.
The only 2 hitters that are good major leaguers since Lindor are Ramirez and Kwan, who came out of nowhere. They traded for Naylor. But you look at the laundry list of guys. We mentioned some of them before that had one good year: Naquin, Chisenhall, Zimmer, Clint Frazier. None of these guys, and then this current group. Now it's not too late for this current group, but so far Naylor, Rocchio, Arias. None of these guys look like legit starting major league players.
No, they don't.
It's so frustrating because the pitching is definitely good enough to win a World Series.
You know you're not going to hit the free agent market.
Right.
If you list the free agents that they've invested in, some of them hit, but most of them didn't. And you're not going to develop hitting talent.
You're in
then you are what you are.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to be a team that's stacked with pitching, but I know that pitching wins in October, but you've got to score.
Yeah, you can't.
And because you're going against aces, they make great hitters, Hosey, look average, and they make average hitters, which we have a lot of, look bad.
No chances.
Yeah, and that's really frustrating. The next 2 weeks is going to be interesting because you're facing their next 5.
They're home now. In fact, the game tomorrow is on WKYC.
It is, and we have the Locked On Blue Jays host tomorrow joining us to help us preview that game.
Good.
They have 6 series before the break. You got Toronto, who's playing great. St. Louis, who's solid. The Cubs, who have been scuffling the last week, but overall they've been very good. Detroit's been great. And then after Detroit, they've got Houston, who's really good. They end with the White Sox. We should change that to say Cubs instead of Chicago, Mike.
Yeah, because
we'll clarify.
Yeah. But so their next 5 series, they have 15 games.
Are you going to Wrigley for those?
I'm not.
Any of those?
I'm actually going to Toronto to see the Cubs play the Blue Jays in August. But
that's a midweek series. I imagine tickets could be had still for Wrigley. Their weekends are always sold out. But I mean, July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, it'd be a great time to sit in the bleachers and watch a ball game at Wrigley.
Is Detroit like 17 games above 500?
No, they're more than that.
No, they're 19, I think. Yeah,
I think
they're 19 over.
They are cooking.
Most wins in baseball.
I predicted them on the show to win the division.
Good call.
I did too. But I had Cleveland, Kansas City, Minnesota finishing within 5 games.
Are you guys surprised at how generally mid the division is outside of the Tigers?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, there's only think of this.
Surprise at the Royals.
If not for Cleveland winning its last 2, you've got one team over 500.
Yeah.
In the division, and we thought Minnesota, Kansas City, and Cleveland were all going to be really, really good and at least contend. But at this point, they're in cruise control mode. Got an that's game lead.
I mean, most of the American League is like that. I mean, the Guardians at the moment are tied for the 3rd wild card spot.
They are, yeah.
So there's a lot of mid teams.
But there's 6 of them within 3 games of them.
Yeah, right.
So there's 9 teams fighting for 3 spots.
I mean, who's got the second best record in the American League right now? The Yankees or the Astros? Or
the Yankees by half a game.
over the Astros?
Correct.
What's the Yankees' record? Because they haven't been playing well.
45 and 32.
Yeah,
and the Astros are 45 and 33.
Right.
And the Yankees at 13 over 500. Not long ago, I think they were 18 over 500. They've been playing horrible.
They're 3 and 7 in the last 10.
Yeah. There you go.
If they wouldn't have made the trade and you just kept Naylor, Jimenez, what do you think the record would be?
Well, you could take Cecconi out of the mix.
Well, you wouldn't have Luis Ortiz.
And you wouldn't have Ortiz either.
Do you think the
And
record?
those guys that won our last 2 games.
Do you think their record would be better?
Probably worse.
Or worse?
I don't
with
know
those
that it
two
would
guys?
be worse. I'm not convinced of that.
Or a wash?
Because, I mean, Naylor's
having a good year.
Huge difference in the lineup. He was their second most productive hitter.
Yeah, but Santana has, I mean, what is the difference in production between Santana this year and Naylor? I mean,
God, it's huge.
Huge?
I think it's huge, yeah.
Can you look that up?
So this is Santana's stats, and then I'll give you Naylor's.
Okay.
So that's Santana. Naylor's hitting 303.
Oh, wow.
He ain't never hit 300.
No, not that.
No,
No,
Naylor.
Carlos Santana. Steve,
oh.
give me Carlos Santana stats. Up four graphics. This is Carlos Santana versus Josh.
He's got him
Naylor.
by almost 70 points in average.
He ain't,
So 303 versus 236.
Right.
9 homers for Naylor.
That's pretty
8
close.
for Santana. 49 ribbies for Naylor. 36 for Santana, and the OPS biggest difference.
Yeah.
823 for Josh.
Yeah, that's big.
685.
But he's only hit one more home run than.
Yeah, but that's just one stat.
No,
He's
I know
way
it is.
better
I know
player.
it is, but
Yeah.
That might be career numbers. He's never hit 300. He's always been around.
Yeah, and he'll hit a lot more home runs. The home runs are lower right now, but an 800-something OPS is all-star.
Great.
680 is below average. I mean, it's a massive difference there.
Man.
Now, you could have still made that trade. You could have signed, instead of wasting money on Austin Hedges and Paul
who replaces
Sewald.
Cecconi and Ortiz in the lineup?
Well, I mean, in theory, you could have kept Naylor. You still have Ortiz if you didn't trade Jimenez. Ortiz was part of the Jimenez trade.
Yeah.
So you could have, you didn't have,
Oh, well, that makes it different. I like that. Let me go with that route.
And I mean, Cecconi's pitched really well for his last 4 or 5 starts.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Even he had some losses, Bull, where he pitched well and just took the L.
Yeah, he hasn't made enough starts. I think Naylor would have impacted winning more than Cecconi has to this point. But we'll see. I mean, the problem is they could have developed somebody else because they're good at that with pitching.
Yeah,
But-
they may have. They may have.
Naylor's back in this lineup would have made a pretty big difference.
But
They were a much better offensive team with him last year than they were. Last year, they were a middle-of-the-road offensive team. They're not this year.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is, but if they don't, I can't wait to see what they do at the break. Are they going to fire sale? Are they going to be sellers over buyers? Are they going to try to add a piece?
If they're at this point where they're a game and a half out of the wild card, is that
No, they're tied for the third wild card.
Oh, tied for a wild card.
Yeah.
They can't become sellers at this point, right?
They did. They that's exactly
They
what
should.
they did 2 years ago.
I know it was Savali, a little different scenario because they weren't actually in the wild. They were 2 games out at the moment.
They were 2 games out of a playoff spot.
don't-
They were 2 games out of the division lead when they did that.
If I were them, I would trade Clase for the right deal.
Boy, he was dicey again yesterday. He loaded the bases. He got out of it. Which
How old is Clase? Ain't he sneaky?
no, he's
old?
still I
No.
think 30 maybe.
I don't think he's 30.
I'll tell you right now, I don't think he's 30
high
either.
20s or 30.
Clase is 27 years old.
Yeah.
Oh man, you
Young.
get you
And he turned 27 this year
you
already.
Get some pieces, dog.
Oh no,
Hey,
he's
for-
definitely
hey,
he's definitely going to attract some
for
attention.
a contender. You put him especially
Particularly because there's so many teams that need a closer.
And
I think
good
it's a
teams.
no-brainer to trade Clase right now. It's an absolute must. There's no other way for them to get better
Especially
offensively.
because they've got a replacement for him. Cade Smith
Right.
is going to be fine.
Yeah.
He's absolutely closer material.
Now, Bull, I remember you saying closers are overrated a little bit. Like yes, you could get you could find somebody to put it at.
There's so many hard. Now, listen, there's some guys that can't pitch in the ninth inning. It's a mental hurdle. But there's so many good young arms that throw hard now.
Yeah, I agree with that, Bull. And the other thing, too, is it's really hard to be a good closer for a long
That's
stretch.
right. That's right. It's
And
very
so
rare.
in the case of Clase, the reason teams may not be interested in Clase, they want a guy they think is on the way up, Cade Smith, not a guy that they could argue is on the way down. I know at 27, but these guys, the Trevor Hoffmans of the world, the Mariano Riveras of the world, the guys who have 20-year careers even Eckersley, who before these guys, and Smoltz, 2 of the greatest to ever do it, they were long-time starting pitchers before they became closers. So the track record of guys who have been elite closers for more than 5-10 years, it's small.
Right, and that's why I would trade Clase, and teams will absolutely be interested because the big market teams,
they're going for today's window.
They're trying to win now.
Yeah, they're not thinking 5 years.
Even if he stinks in the next few years, he's getting paid nothing. So what's the difference?
Let
They
me
could move on
make
from
an
him.
addendum to that. Freaking Aroldis Chapman is still getting done.
He had kind of declined.
He did, but
and now he's bounced back.
right back up to the dominance that he.
And I seen him throw on 105. I said, ain't you supposed to be done?
Try to hit a BB. Try to go, and if I have a BB gun and I stand at home plate and I fire it, try to hit that. That's what it's like trying to hit
Let me tell you
him.
something about closers. If I went and named the closers for all 30 teams,
I wouldn't know none of them.
the average fan wouldn't have heard of 25 of them.
You're absolutely right.
And some of them are really good. There's guys you may not have heard of that might be super elite.
Yes, that is the case. But however, Clase is the guy that's probably got the longest track record of dominance.
Exactly.
Outside of
which
Chapman.
is why if you're the Cubs, if you're the Dodgers,
can make the move.
if you're the Rangers, if you're the Tigers, again,
Yeah.
that's tricky within the division.
I
If you're the Astros, if
Tigers.
you're the who else in the National
We got
League?
him.
No,
from
the Astros have a really good closer.
Oh, you're not the Astros.
Yeah, we got
the
him from the
Phillies.
Astros, too.
If you're the Philly, no, you got him from the Rangers.
Rangers,
Rangers.
If
If you're the Phillies,
Corey Kluber,
like
right?
all these teams,
National League
Kluber.
team would be nice because they
Gee.
ain't no book. They
Gee.
ain't seen him.
No, I know, man.
No book of
that, Mike?
So
business.
his first trip through everybody.
To prove Bo's point.
You want me to name the closer on every team off the top of my head?
No. I'm gonna do it. Make it even better.
He probably could. He plays fantasy.
I know Bo could. That's why. I'm gonna name you the top 10 guys in saves. You tell me what team they play for.
This is great.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
This guy leads Major League Baseball in saves this year. Carlos Estevez. What team does he play for?
I know Emilio Estevez. That's the Mighty Ducks.
Can I say it before?
Yeah.
Say it.
yeah.
No clue.
Jay, do you know?
I wanted to say Boston, but I don't
You guys
think it
should
is.
know this one. He's in the division.
No clue.
The Royals.
Royals. Oh. He was a failed Rockies starting pitcher, and then he went to the Angels and became a closer
That's
eventually.
not
there.
uncommon, really.
Yeah.
A lot of guys have
uncommon at
done
all.
that.
No clue.
Jose Mesa thought he was going to
A lot of
be a
them.
starter.
Well, Mariano Rivera was a starter his first year.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
We're waiting on our guest, so once our guest is ready, we'll
Yeah,
move
go ahead,
on.
next
So we'll
one.
keep going. Robert Suarez, G. He has 21 saves this year.
He's been very good for a couple of years.
I don't know who that is.
He's on the Padres.
Steve said Phillies need Clase bad.
That's what I said.
They don't have a closer.
Their
Josh
bullpen stinks.
Josh Hader.
Josh Naylor?
No, Hater.
No, I know who he's talking about. No.
Astros.
Emilio Pagan.
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 Um,
There's no pronunciation on ESPN.
Rangers.
Cincinnati.
Kyle Finnegan.
Just name
I didn't realize he
teams.
was 5th in saves, Kyle Finnegan.
Kyle Finnegan.
Tied for 4th with Clase.
I know Cortland Finnegan.
Finnegan's the Nats.
How many? This is off the topic, but who leads in blown saves? Is Clase?
No, he hasn't blown a lot of saves.
Well,
A
he's
lot
got
of those-
4 wins. He's 4-0. Or
Right,
was.
but those weren't all. A lot of those bad appearances
He
were
came
not
in when-
saves. They might have been tie games.
Yeah,
or
maybe
whatever.
when they
I
were
don't know.
tied.
Go ahead, Mike. Who's next?
I'm looking up most blown saves real quick. Most blown saves.
Jeff Hoffman.
Hoffman's on this list. Andres
Munoz.
Munoz.
How many does he have?
No. This is just next guy. I got 3 tabs. I'm looking for blown saves right now.
Oh,
Hold on.
Okay.
G, do you know what team Andres Munoz is on?
No. Marlins.
Nope.
No, we faced him at
Seattle.
Seattle.
Yep.
I was close with an M name. Mariners.
What's next, Mike?
Trevor McGill.
Trevor McGill.
Trevor McGill.
Oh, yeah, I know this one too. He hasn't been doing it long.
2 years.
Pirates.
No, Brewers.
That's right.
Brewers.
Correct. Good job out of you.
Jeff Hoffman.
Wow.
Is that Trevor
Wait.
Hoffman's son?
No. No.
Jeff Hoffman's one of the save leaders.
Yeah.
17.
He's been really good, but he's had a weird year. Anyway,
What's his ERA? Just out of curiosity.
it's not great
Hoffman's?
Yeah.
529.
because he's had like 4 or 5 really terrible appearances, and then the rest of his appearances he's been perfect. He's the Blue Jays.
It's kind of like
closer.
Clase.
Yeah.
Tanner Scott and Kyle Finnegan and Ryan Hensley all have 5 blown saves this year.
Okay. Scott's the Dodgers. Hensley is the Cardinals.
The Dodgers would love to have Clase.
Yeah, of course.
Oh my God.
The Cubs closer's actually been really good. He throws 101, but they'd still love that.
Who is
think-
is it Presley?
Didn't
No.
Shohei
Keep going.
pitch a clean inning yesterday?
Yeah, 2 strikeouts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Go
yeah,
ahead.
we was debating that. Did he? How many innings did he pitch?
One in
Just
each of
one.
his appearances. He gave up a run on a sac fly, I think, in his first appearance.
I'm going to email our guest to get him on in 1 second if we don't hear from him. But real quick, I just saw someone tweet this out. Bull, did you know that Tyler Freeman's hitting 323 with an 846 OPS? Now, he's only played
He hasn't
in
played a
38
lot.
games. He's got 100 at-bats, so small sample size.
He's been hot lately.
Wow, that's crazy.
You guys got to – Jay, promote the game on KYC real quick.
Yeah, it's on tomorrow on WKYC tomorrow night, 6:45. Is it or 7? Yeah, 6:30. Okay, so right after our news ends. But this is a big homestand, Bull.
Yeah.
They've got some tough games. The next 12 games are
15.
15. Really,
Yeah.
you could go out another series.
Well, yeah, Blue Jays are playing good baseball.
They are.
They've been hitting.
And that's
really
going to be
well.
a team that we could, that we're battling
Battling,
with for the
yeah.
wild card. So these are big games, man. Big, and I know the Cubs have been scuffling lately, but the Cubs they've got a good
Well, their lineup's
club.
great. Their pitching the last week or 10 days has gone down the crapper. Besides,
What did you think of that ballpark they're playing in Sacramento?
It's
Isn't that
so
weird?
seeing
That's
that.
It was so weird. I have a buddy who's been to
Yeah.
every major league stadium.
Yeah.
And this year he's going to Tampa, Steinbrenner,
Right.
and he was at the
Yeah.
game yesterday. And it's just like they're minor league atmosphere.
It's so bizarre.
And they're playing games there every single day.
Right, because the other team plays.
So you know what that does to a field.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Just kills
Progressive gets 10 days where no one's
Beat
on
up
it.
and torn up, yeah.
And boy, by August, that field is going to be
Yeah.
ravaged.
By the way, did you see, speaking of Matthew Boyd, did you see that line drive he caught?
No, I didn't.
Can we play that by any chance, Mike? Do you guys?
I'll find it later.
Yeah.
Was it
Our
like a
guest is going to come
life-saving
at
line drive?
12:30.
He was
Right
like
at his
this,
face.
and then he flipped over backwards.